Hey, welcome back. We're going to retopo this using zspheres, and we are going to make a finalized mesh with retopology. First thing we want to do is append a zsphere to the subtool. Make sure it's selected. We'll use transparency so we can see what we're doing, and move and scale it down into the body. Nowhere in particular, it doesn't really matter. Just want to kind of get it out of the way. Once that's in place, we're going to go down to topology and hit edit topology. And that will allow us to start making some new vertices and connecting them and making our new mesh. Make sure that you hit the Q key or the draw button, or else you're not going to be doing anything. And also make sure, very important, that if you need to, that you're using symmetry, so pressing the X button. So we'll start by making points and connecting them. ZBrush's interface and method of using retopology with zspheres isn't very intuitive, so one thing you want to do is just really be careful about your connections. Where the last time the vertice was placed and where it's going to go from there. Just pay attention to that and making sure that when you make your connection that it actually made it. Many times I've gone a little bit before it or a little bit after it and it kind of messed up the geometry in the end, so fair warning. We're going to try to make a clean mesh here. It's not super important. This isn't going to be a game res mesh. The most important thing is just making sure all the geometry is in the right place and the edge flow is okay. Using A to check the mesh. We want to turn the density down to 1 in adaptive skin so it looks just like what we're actually creating. We don't want to see any extra subdivision levels. You can use the W key to move any point or vertice if it didn't kind of go where you wanted it to. The Alt key will remove points when you're in draw mode. Almost done. We'll finish this up. I'm just going to make a few last connections. It'll probably help when we make the adaptive skin. And we're done. I'm checking it out, looks okay. Thing we want to do before that, we call it done, we want to give it some thickness. So we'll go into topology, and where it says skin thickness, we will turn it in the negative so that the thickness goes in instead of out. We don't want to change the profile. So I'll bring it in a little bit, and we'll see where it is. And then you hit the A key to preview that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit the Make Adaptive Skin button. It's going to be a new Z tool up top. And what we want to do is append it back into our subtool with everything else. So you can do two things here. We're going to want to hide the Z-sphere, but first you can either go back to topology and delete topo. You could just hide it and create a new one, a new Z-sphere for a different part. But if you're done, I'm not going to work with it again. I'm just going to delete it, and then my Z-sphere is still in the scene, so I can use it for later pieces. Just make sure, once again, like everything, save iteratively before you do anything big. Especially now, because what we're going to do is we're going to append a new piece in. What we want to do is go back to our sculpt mesh, our concept sculpt, the block out, and basically kind of clear away all that concept sculpt around the new mesh. So again, this is very destructive, so make sure that you save it before you do something like this. Make sure that you have the right mesh selected, because I did not, and that RGB is off in your tool, which it wasn't. So yeah, just things to be careful of. So now we're just sculpting it away, pushing it back in, never to see it again. And revealing our new low poly mesh here. So from here, I'm just going to use the move tool and adjust a little bit of this mesh. You can move some of the vertices, straighten some stuff out. I'm just going to pull the jar out just a little bit because it's cutting through to into the skin. Make sure that symmetry is on before you do that. And that's about it. That's like a good start right now. The next video, we're going to finish it off and make our final piece. We're going to use ZModeler and dynamic subdivision. So see you in the next video.